I'm a cat. You're looking very confused. The thinking for tonight was from that Mummies Alive cartoon, and the female character is supposed to be Bastet. Bastet is, of course, the cat goddess. So, and this was the only cat thing that I
Oh,
had that I could put on my face and go, I'm a cat.
I thought we were having a furry theme, and I didn't get the memo.
No, no, no. It's just I'm honoring my avatar. Joe is not well. Joe is here with us in spirit, but he ain't here right now. We get to run amok. I just scared you. Like, oh my god, what did I sign up for?
She tells the truth. I'm just in the background because I'm trying to get the laptop up and going here. I mean, if people really wanted to see me here,
I
I'm
already
okay. I'm
I
okay.
told them where you
Don't worry
were.
about me. I'm just trying to figure out what's reason why all of a sudden my laptop is going kaput.
You're not in the potty anymore.
No,
No.
I told everybody you were in the potty.
no. You want me to go back there? I could do it from there,
No,
but
no.
no. I was just telling you guys I'm going to start it before I could get what I need to get done here because I don't know what's going on with the laptop.
Okay.
It's just not giving. It's not loading Windows 10 for some reason.
Well, I will start with my announcement. My proof from Amazon came. This is a glossy cover as opposed to the version that was done by the company that shall not be named. It's more of a matte. This is all shiny glass glossy. It's also smaller. It's a little smaller. This one is zine size. This one's smaller. So I have like 20 copies of this. And then once these are gone, they're gone. But my understanding is by tomorrow, Saturday at the latest, these will go live on Amazon KDP. So if you want to get your hands on, and these were printed, just so you know, these larger ones were printed for C2E2 because I was having trouble with Amazon at the time and couldn't get them printed, and we all know what happened with that. But which brings me to some good news. My local comic book store, First Aid Comics in Hyde Park. I know the guy who owns the store, and I gave free comic book day. I gave him a copy of And the Coming of Nighttime. And while he didn't read it all the way through, he saw enough of it where he kind of liked the cut of its jib and is offering me a signing day. So I'm getting a book signing. And I'm nervous
Yay.
because it's gonna be just me there trying to keep people interested and whatnot. You know, I'm thinking I might just bring the cat.
When is it?
We haven't set the day and time yet. I went to pick something up on Saturday and he wasn't there. So he's going to call me in the next week or so and we're going to hash out what day and time will work. It'll probably be on either a Saturday or an evening. And I'm hoping to get a Saturday. The only thing though, the book is 18 plus. So, an evening might work best for that crowd, so I don't know. But when I do, I will be posting it. I will let you guys know. I will hold it in until I get the word, and then I will let everybody here know first before I make the actual announcement on Facebook. So you guys are hearing this. I have not announced this on Facebook. I've only announced it in our chat that I got. I'm getting a signing day. So you're the first to hear this. Yay!
Yay. Well, you let us know when it is, and I'll come up there and stand outside and just scream until people come inside.
Okay. people, I don't have to get, I'll give you a free book for that, because I have several people who are coming with the expectation that I'm giving out free books.
Oh no, I'm just trying to get people in the door. So
my business counselor, I told her, and she's like, good, let me know when the day and time is, because I'll come. And I'm like, why? I'm not sure. It's like, this is not C2E2 people or free comic book day. People don't normally cosplay to go to the comic book store, and I don't know if there'll be anybody showing up as werewolves because, they haven't read the book yet. So, but he was pleased, and I am both flattered and amazed because I didn't think I would get that offer. Jibamole Anderson and other people that I know have done signings there. Jibba was there for Free Comic Book Day. If you're watching this, hey dude, how you doing? I'm getting a signing. If you don't show up, I'm gonna find you and stand outside your door and go booga 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 booga, just to mess with you. So, hey, I bought a poster, dude. You have to at least come and smile.
that's right.
Yes. People are sitting there going, this woman is so crazy. Where is Joe? This is what happens when she's up for. Hold on, I got to drink something from a cat skull. It's tea because I'm out of Dr. Pepper.
There you go.
What's your week been like? How are things going?
Well, they're going.
Okay. Oh.
Same stuff going on, dealing with family stuff, and these evil children who are plotting my death. So,
oh, they're not plotting your death. They love you.
last night the youngest, because I told her it was time to get off the PlayStation 5, got mad at me and yelled, and so I put her to bed, and she told me I hate you and you're the worst daddy there's ever been. So
Oh,
we're
wow.
at that level with them right now. So yeah.
Okay. Only thing is now you could have argued the logic of how many other daddies did she know?
Yeah.
You could have stumped her brain and went, what's your comparison for this? Made her think logically.
Well, see, I'm kind of afraid because she's more quick-witted than I am. So I'm
Oh,
really
so
afraid of
she.
I'm afraid of what will come out of her mouth. Yes, I have three daughters. So
I have. I will see if I can share it when we're off here. I found this story on Facebook. Stand-up comic. They did a little animatic of it. Tells the story of a Florida man who robbed the Wendy's with an alligator.
right on.
Drive through.
Hey man, if it works, it works.
It was
It's a
very.
new one on me.
It's Florida. What you gonna do?
Which is
Florida.
amazing because you would think people in Florida are used to the alligator and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. It'd be like, does he want fries? But
Well, supposedly the girl, when he came to rob, she wasn't impressed until he picked up the alligator and threw it in the window at her. And that made all the difference, because you're sort of, an alligator, unless it's an itty bitty alligator, an alligator of any size flying at you, is going to friggin' wreck your day.
Yeah, my girls like to watch the show on Disney Plus, Bluey.
It's the Australian one with the dog. Okay.
Yeah, and they had an episode where their grandfather, who lives out in the bush, came to visit, and he didn't understand how all the kids like to play now with pretending they have real working phones and all this. So he basically he created in their little imaginary game, created an app for a crocodile exterminator. And when the girls weren't looking, he snuck in and stuck a stuffed crocodile in their backpack, and they started freaking out for it. And of course, he told them they did the app, and he came to take the crocodile away. And for some reason, just because the people who write the show apparently get bored, they carried the stuffed crocodile outside, and they said, "Grandpa, what do we do with it now?" He goes, "I don't know. Which one of your neighbors doesn't have any pets?" And this poor single dad that his son plays with them was putting the laundry up on the rail on the line, and they threw this giant stuffed crocodile on top of him, and he's going,
So they literally bombed him with
"Yes,
a stuffed crocodile.
yes."
I now have to get a stuffed crocodile
Mhm.
so that I am now getting such great ideas for what to
Yes.
do with it with the neighborhood thugs.
There you go.
It's like and get one that I can like compress
Mm-hmm.
into my backpack. I'm an old lady. I'm having trouble. Oh, my back. Open up my backpack. I would just love that. But I don't know how. My luck. I get the one thug with a bad heart.
It'd be all right.
The cops would have the cops would love it. If the cops show up, they're like, "What did she do to you again? She hit me on an alligator." It's like, how do you know it's an alligator? Could have been a crocodile. Do you know how to identify him? Throw off his logic meter right then, and at least, and Chicago cops being Chicago cops would go, "Did it bite you, sir?" And it's, of course not. It was stuck. Yeah, I made sure he was good and fed before I tossed it. The things you think of in the hood. Cause
Joe popped up, and he's gone.
he heard my alligator story. I have now given him ideas.
It's like, he's like the parent jumping in the room. Why aren't y'all asleep yet? And then left.
Is there booze in here? No, there is no booze in here. We are young, innocent children, just in filled with the joy of life.
Right. That's right.
I'm sorry about your youngest. Is there anything I can do to help? Like,
you may want to just put out there that if y'all don't see me in a while, you know what happened.
You were murdered by your child. Oh,
I joke about this, but I'm serious. When she gets in trouble, her go-to response is to go punch her sister in the face.
Which one? The oldest?
The middle daughter, my 10-year-old.
Oh my goodness! And how old is the youngest again? She's 5.
8.
Oh crap! That's gonna work for maybe another year, and then the middle child is going to decide she's gonna have a Popeye moment where she's had all she can stand and she can't stand no more. And baby girl might find herself taking flight.
Well, we've given the 10-year-old permission. If she hits you, you can hit her back. But that's kind of worked against us because Penelope, she's my 8-year-old. She's going to get the last lick in no matter what.
Ooh.
Even if it involves furniture. So
oh, you got a scrapper. Well,
I call her my FSKA, future serial killer of America.
Well, think of it this way: any boy who shows up to ask if she can come out, you know, to ask her for a date, you know, that boy is either very brave and a glutton for punishment, or somebody you really need to be afraid of. And I froze Cliff. Oh, no, hold on. It was only no. Okay, are you back?
I think
Yes.
so. Yeah, she my wife's best friend has a son that's close to her age, and they talk on FaceTime all the time. And she's already she's already learned how to dominate the male species. So I'm not worried about her at all.
Okay, so now she's on my list. I have a friend, my friend DC Chen. He's the one whose books I talked about. And his daughter Josie, she's on my list for as soon as I can get money. I will one Halloween go to the Spirit Halloween store and get her a two-handed dwarven battle axe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I need to get one for your little girl too.
Please don't, because she'll find some way to cut me with it. Don't.
Okay.
No, all three of my girls are very, very spirited and very, very independent.
Well, at least you know these girls will be able to take care of themselves. Men are not going to walk all over them when they become women.
I'm not worried about them taking care of themselves. I'm worrying about which one of them's going to put me in the good nursing home.
They will all do it. They will band together. In fact, well, no, I was about to say if you're lucky, no. If you're not lucky, they'll put you in a room at the back of the house on the top floor. You'll be the creepy guy they occasionally send meals up to.
I taught my oldest, Ty, when she was little, when her papa was getting on her nerves, I taught her how to look at him and point and say, "Papa, bad nursing home."
So this is your fault. This
Yeah,
is your
I
chickens
know.
coming home to roost.
I know.
You started this.
I know about when my third one, Penelope, was about walking age. I called my mom one day and I said, "Whatever I did when I was little, I'm sorry."
See, my boys fear me.
Well, here's the thing: they all fear my wife. They fear Micah because
So,
Micah's.
as they should.
We call her the baby Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they all fear her. I'm that guy that teaches them homeschooling, lets them play on the TV. So I don't really, what I say doesn't really matter.
So what books, you're homeschooling, what books are you going to be introducing them to?
Um, I don't know because we've already started doing some stuff. Like Grace, my middle daughter, she just now got finished reading the first Harry Potter.
Okay.
Um, um, and I don't know. We have a huge big bookshelf. Like she got mad at me, but I made her read Boxcar Children when she was
Ooh,
younger.
okay.
Because I remember reading that at her age, but I'm really bad about it because I'm not really sure what at each grade level they should be reading. So I go online and like look at a reading list, and I'll let them pick a book from it, and it hasn't been working out too well. So I'm gonna have to like this summer I'm gonna sit down and like lay it all out because I hate to say it, but our homeschooling is kind of like a trial and error as we're going. So um it's getting better, but it's like okay, like for example, I used to have summer break like they would if they were in real school.
Mm-hmm.
And then when school started back, I had to spend 2 months like reteaching how to divide
Yeah.
because all that just went out the window.
Yeah.
So now we kind of do like little mini school all year long. Um,
Oh.
yeah, and this year we started doing stuff like because we've noticed, kids today don't know how to write. They don't know how to handwrite at all
Cursive. Yeah.
or anything. They can barely print. So I started doing a thing where they do journaling every day,
Okay.
and I got them. I got them making up their own stories, and like we do strange history facts of the day and stuff like that for them.
Cool.
Future writers of America.
Yes.
I was gonna say, if you needed help with English composition or anything,
Mm.
you know, let a sister know.
Oh, I definitely will, because I'm at first when we first started doing this, when I first got sick. So I was really afraid I wasn't going to, I was like, man, my children's education's in my hands. Oh my God. But it's slowly but surely working. I mean, I didn't think Penelope would ever learn how to read. Now she can read on her own. So I'm like, yes, at least I did something. So we will see. Plus, we have a friend who helps write curriculum for the public schools around here,
Mm-hmm.
and she'll every once in a while, when she has time, come by and we'll test to them to make sure we're where we're supposed to be and give me what I need to work on. So,
Cool.
look, after the past few years, I've realized I could teach them to whistle in the dark and stare at a wall, and they'd be ahead of half the people in this country. So I'm okay with it.
Interesting. Now's a good time to start introducing them to women writers.
Mm.
When they get old enough, I highly suggest Mary Shelley,
Mm.
Frankenstein. That way, when guys tell them what girls can't do,
Yeah.
they can, like I, get up and say, hello. She wrote
Mhm.
that. She was what, 18?
Yeah.
Shut up. Mr. Magoo's Mr. Magoo, there are a lot of great Mr. Magoo has some classics that they've done that they've Mr. Magooized.
Mhm.
Frankenstein is one of them. Christmas Carol is another. Um, and I would get the list because I think he's done a few of those that are fun. I loved his Frankenstein.
We watched the animated Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol around Christmas time if I can get them to sit down
La
through it.
la 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 la.
Yeah.
They wouldn't sit down through it.
It's not as much fun as Mickey's Christmas Carol, so they don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
but there's
We're
where's the
trying.
shoes to click to my clock?
Yeah.
Why won't
We're getting
somebody reach back? I, I have it on Amazon.
there.
If I can get Charles to show me how to do it, um, we can open a discussion about ways in which about storytelling in general when they're old enough.
Right.
There's some great movies. I'm a sci-fi horror fan, so there are
Mm.
some great movies. My youngest still watches the classic Universal horror films.
Yeah, I want to enter. I found on Tubi that they have a lot of classic shows and movies like the Three Stooges are on there,
Mhm.
and that's gonna be a summer project is watching the Three Stooges because I want to see how they react to it. Um,
I don't know if you can find the Little Rascals or the Our Gang
I'll have to look
ones.
those up.
Those,
Um,
when I was a little girl, Channel 32, WFLD, used to run in the afternoons. They had the Little Rascal Our Gang shorts that they were a staple of my childhood. Um, and if you can find it, I highly recommend The Mad Adventures of Captain Klutz. This came out in 1967. I was 6. I bought this for $3.99.
mhm.
This originally sold for 50 cents. I got my copy of it when I was like 9 years old and loved it up
Mm.
until an angry parental person ripped it to shreds
Oh no.
as a punishment. Um, but that magazine, you know, that magazine, as much as I loved eerie and creepy and Vampirella and
Mhm.
that stuff, I love me some Mad magazine. It was
Oh,
it
yeah.
was goofy and amazing, and I loved it for the same reason I love Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In.
Hmm.
You know, it was a great. It was an introduction to the world, but through comedy.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, they might like this. I got this from my local comic book dealer.
Mhm.
Somebody is hawking a copy of this for like $20 on Amazon,
Mhm.
so you can find it.
Okay.
See, Joe, I'm sticking with the rules.
I'm still here. I haven't left.
Okay, I figured. So I'm saying, I'm talking about it, but I am. It's within the rules. You can find this.
Uh-huh.
I
Mhm.
was so happy when I called Brian last week, and I'm like, dude, for comic book day, you had a copy of Captain Klutz, the pocketbook edition, in the window on the thingy. Is it still there? He had to get up from behind the counter and go. It's like, yeah, I got it. It's like, what do you want for it? I'll rip out, I've got 3 other people in my house. I can rip out someone's kidney. Just tell me what you need.
There you go.
Joe
Oh, he's
keeps
gone
switching
again.
this around. He's gone again, you know?
See, you talked about people's kidneys and he left.
He's like Gandalf in The Hobbit.
Mm.
I don't know if you've read The Hobbit.
I've read The Hobbit, yes.
Yeah. So, Gandalf pops in and out in that book.
Yeah.
He's not always there. Though, at the time we didn't realize he was fighting the dude in Gul Dugur, but
Hmm.
still he's a wizard. Have you introduced them to the Rankin Bass animated? They're old enough to at least have seen The
Can't.
Hobbit.
I haven't found it on anything that we have.
I have
Uh,
it.
oh.
I have the Rankin Bass Hobbit and the Rankin Bass Return of the King.
Oh. Okay.
So, and I have them both on my Fandango account.
Mm.
So, but I have them on DVD.
Oh, okay.
So I can get the DVD to Joe, and
Hmm.
Joe can get the DVDs to you.
Well, thank you.
So,
Joe, you have a
because
mission.
you hear that? You hear that,
I
fearless
always
leader?
have a mission. That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Oh,
Hmm.
come on. It's not like you're not compensated.
That is true.
You want me to be a cat again? I can be a cat. I'm a cat.
Oh, right now, I hate being my own tech support.
Um,
That's
Hey,
what I do. That's what I do for a living. So it's like, it's like I come in. It's like, okay, everything was working perfectly fine. Restart the laptop, and I was
you want
like,
you want to get in a chat with Charles and see, and
no,
he's okay.
I'm already running a system restore. So again, it's like one file in Windows. If it gets corrupted, it just takes down the whole thing. Where in an instant when you do a restart,
hmm.
and it's just stupid. It's a stupid vulnerability within that. Now it's saying that the system could, yeah. See, the system failed to extract the restore point.
Oh no.
No. I'm just saying failed to extract the file. This, that, the other.
Yeah, Charles is my tech support when I have a tech support question. He, but and so when I have a problem, and he also critiques my artwork.
Have you tried throwing it yet?
Oh, if I threw it, it would be get new laptop.
Mhm.
Yeah, stuff like
You don't understand. I work in this field. It's like, yeah, right now it's just more along the lines like, do I really want to put the man hours to fix this thing?
Mhm.
I just believe it's happening because Microsoft want people to go to Windows 11.
yeah,
Uh,
I've got a Windows 10, and I spent I spent quite a lot of money just rebuilding. this puppy. Um, and they're like, well, come later this year, October, we're no longer, we're not gonna give you free updates anymore. And it's like, I think I can.
Well, on my laptop, there it's like, oh, we would convert you over to Windows 11 now. I'm like, why? I got some time, and then stuff like this happened, and it's just like, yeah, y'all really trying to get me to be on 11.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe that's why I'm having the issues that I'm having with my business branded email as well. Because this is my old computer was a Windows 10. This is a
Mm.
Windows 10. And it's like, make it harder for me to function so that I'll go. And it's like, but this computer, the way we call it Frankenstein for a reason. It was cobbled together from parts of other computers. Every once in a while, in the middle of the night, it gets up and goes, "Arr." Scares the hell out of Courtney. Um, it's
I
not
had
when it's not 11 compatible. So for me to get 11, I would literally have to build a new computer.
I had a car like that.
It runs on Windows 10.
No, it was cobbled together out of pieces from other cars.
Ah,
Mhm.
I'm fond of Frankie. I'm actually thinking of decorating him.
Mm.
If I do, I will send pictures. So you guys go, why did we invite her into the group again? It's like, but this week I have been at work, as I posted to the group I'm getting my covers done for my 2 books that I'm going to be working on this year. So right now I'm getting the cover for Heir Apparent. And it's funny, I hadn't planned it, but there are these 2 girls I went to school with in middle school, the Shannon sisters. And they were light skinned. They had greenish hazel eyes and very light, straightish hair. And I love T-Boz from the group TLC. You don't have to know who TLC is. That's sort of they had songs like "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls" and
I know in Left Eye Lopez.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, Lisa
I
Left
know who
Eye
TLC
Lopez.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, the cover art, the girl kind of looks like a combination of the Shannon sisters and T-Boz.
There you go.
It wasn't what I was going for, but it's kind of how it ended up. It's like, okay, that's what it wanted to be. So I was going to try to texturize it like it was done on paper or something. But all the paper textures, Charles just looked at and went, nope, nope, oh hell no, nope, nope, oh hell no. So he didn't approve of any of the texturization. I was trying to make it look more painterly. And he was like, just leave it as it is. It's like, it looks boring that way. He's like, but you haven't put the title on it, or once you get your name and the title on there, it'll look different. But I just
right.
Did you see it?
Yes.
It's in the chat. It's in our chat.
Yes. It looks good. I liked it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I'm more of a lurker in chats than a talker. So
You should talk. If you post, I will respond.
that's too much work.
Okay. But I'm giving you DVDs. I'm also the only one I won't give you. I think I have. If I have Bakshi's Lord of the Rings and I can buy the digital copy from Fandango, I will also send that. I also have Bakshi's Wizards, which
Wizards.
I
remember
love
that.
Wizards. I love me some Wizards. I am so happy. I was like over the moon when I got it. But I think I have to buy that download because but when it was Voodoo before it became Fandango,
Hmm.
it used because they were owned by Walmart. Um,
Hmm.
if you had certain DVDs, you could scan in the barcode,
Hmm.
and they would give you a free version of it for your account. But there were certain movies that, and I think I got a couple of the Harry Potters that way. I got the first three Lord of the Ring movies that way because I scanned them and are like, oh, you have that? Boom, there you go. It's like, and then eventually they gave me all the DVD extras. So
Yeah, I
it's
discovered one day looking at one of our DVD or Blu-rays that we had digital copies of them that I never knew we had. So I started going through putting in all the codes for the digital copies, and like half of them had expired because I never knew it.
yeah, you have to do it within so much time or you don't get it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So but I've got it was funny, and I loved Voodoo when I first got it because um they used, if you rented or you bought things, they would give you free stuff.
Mhm.
So I got Steam Boy for
Mm.
free. In fact, I think your girls, like I said, I will make a list of things that I have that I think your girls would like.
All right.
Steam Boy, I think, would be one of those things.
All right.
But I got Steam Boy, and also a movie that I enjoy. It's a werewolf film.
Mm.
Um, I don't think your girls are old enough for it. It's it's a werewolf film. It's a indie film,
I've
but
got. I think they've gotten old enough now. I want to go back and rewatch because I know they don't remember The Last Unicorn and The Secret of Nim with them.
I've got both those movies somewhere. I will find them. Um, I know I can because Charles has done it. We've done it. Because the younger kids, they're just now discovering Carpenter's The Thing. And
Mhm.
so it's like, oh, you need to see the old sci-fi horror films, like the original Blob. I
Right.
introduced a bunch of Charles's. We hosted a showing of the Blob and had just the best fun joking about it. But in the end, they were actually impressed and had a good time and enjoyed it. Um, so I know I had the capacity. I just have to have him teach me how to do it.
Mhm.
And then I
Okay.
was thinking I can host some stuff because I've got some animated things um, that I love that I think your girls might enjoy. I will not include Helsing Ultimate in any form or fashion. Don't worry.
My oldest is going through that right now.
Really? Where is she?
Hey, Ty, come here. Yeah, because we've read the manga. And
Oh,
somehow we
okay.
realized I have like the first 8 of the manga and I'm missing like the last 2. But I know I've read them.
Voodoo,
Uh-huh.
before they became Fandango, was selling the episodes.
Oh.
But I could only afford to buy like one every few months. Hi!
Hi,
I'm
this
the
is
crazy lady that yells at your dad.
my oldest daughter, Ty.
Hi,
Uh,
Ty!
I told her that you were watching Hellsing Ultimate, and she said you had to come in here. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's not
I
exactly what I
corrupted
meant.
her at an early
It's
age.
not. Where are you in the series?
Where are you at? Don't ask me. Oh, okay.
That he just was on the plane and he sunk that ship.
Okay, so he's on the battleship. He took out what's her name with the singing.
Yep.
Okay.
But I've read all of it, so it's kind of just like a recap when I'm watching
Now, in her defense, for some reason in our house, the scene where he fights the Valentine brother is like the funniest thing ever, and we just go back and watch it over and over again. So
Well,
we never really
it
get too
is pretty.
far. So
How old is she again? How old are you again,
it.
sweetie?
23.
she's 23.
Oh, okay. You just look so young. Helsing
It's the hair.
Ultimate Abridged by Team 4 Star on YouTube.
Mm.
hilarious. It
Uh,
is the
I
it
I have the big hardback omnibus of Helsing.
Oh,
Is
okay,
that
you have the omnibus? Ooh.
Yeah.
See, now I need to come to your house and start rifling through your collection.
Where's Oliver? Yes, she's got some good taste. Like you have pretty much all of ElfQuest, don't you? Yeah, I introduced her to ElfQuest at an
I
early
could
age.
not get into ElfQuest.
Yeah,
I couldn't get
but
into it.
see, we have mini Alucard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
There's the
yeah.
dude. There's the
He's
dude.
he's very dusty, but yeah, it's mini
That's
Alucard.
okay. That's
Yeah,
okay. He's kind of dusty in the show too, in
yeah.
certain sections.
We'll knock the dust off of him one day. But yeah, but yeah. What Yeah, she likes a lot of the darker anime than I do.
Ooh, has
Yeah,
she read Vampire Hunter D or
no,
watched it?
you have not done Vampire Hunter yet. Well, that's next on my list for her.
Vampire Hunter D.
Mm, very good. You'll like it.
I
Yeah,
watched the one called Another.
Yeah, she watches an anime called Another, which is creepy as all get out.
I haven't seen that one yet. I'll have to look it up.
If you like, it made me uncomfortable with umbrellas, so just fair warning about that. There's a scene with the stairs and an umbrella. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, see, I corrupted her at an early age because I introduced her to Hellsing when she was little, and Fist of the North Star. So
My oldest introduced me to Fist of the North Star, and it was revenge for making him watch Akira when he was 7.
there you go. I haven't done that yet. I
So
haven't done that.
none
You
of
have to
you
watch
have
it.
been introduced to Wicked City at a young age.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I haven't
didn't
done that to
introduce
my
him to
kids yet.
Wicked City. I have not introduced him to that after, but and I love Fist of the North Star. I love me some
You
Fist
can
of the
watch
North
Wicked
Star.
City. I just never want to know you did. Mhm. Yes.
It's
So
on Prime.
yeah,
They
it's
have it on
it's a
Prime.
good anime, but
They also
his
have
dad doesn't
Harlock.
want to know.
The Prime just brought a bunch of new anime in.
Mm,
Hakuoki is really good, but
mm,
I can only find the first. I originally saw it on. They used to have it on Hulu, and they had
mm,
both seasons. And now I can only find the first season on Amazon, which I bought because
mm.
it was
That's
like
not good. Definitely
Yeah,
not good.
yeah. Her
Definitely, definitely,
first.
definitely not good.
I can't find it. I can't find it. And then I've run in his room and grabbed him and shook him and said, "You have to
Her.
find this." And he's like, "Well, everybody I know in Japan has it, but
Mm,
it would cost me money I ain't got, and he won't give blood for this."
oh, I understand. Her first anime that wasn't forced on her by me was Inuyasha,
Ooh.
and when she was younger, for some reason, the letter I was beyond her. So Inuyasha was Biyashu. So
Oh, Inuyasha is brought to you by the letter I.
yes. Yeah, are you still gonna get a Shishomaru tattoo? Yeah,
I'm
she's
Oh
in
gonna get
the
boy,
generation that grew up on
I'm
Sesame
not. I'm not
Street.
going to say what I'm thinking here.
oh,
Don't forget, I know where you live, Joe.
Well, it's a good thing. To me, it's more along the lines. Those who like Inuyasha really it really likes Dragon Ball, except that they wanted more lead female characters to be stronger.
mm,
I did. I liked Dragon Ball, but I loved Dragon Ball. The Team Four Star on YouTube
mm,
does satirized versions of things.
mm.
Their Dragon Ball Z is not to be missed.
We used to be big Dragon Ball fans, but then we tried to watch Dragon Ball Super, and that about broke me. So we gave up.
My heart got broken when they changed Mr. Popo. They changed Mr. Popo. And just so you know, there's a character in here called
Mm,
Sissy Man.
there you go.
It's still up for debate what anime man I want to get.
Yeah, she may get a Shishomaru tattoo or Alucard. She hasn't decided yet. So
Have you ever watched Attack on Titan?
Yes.
Yes.
Loved it till around the ending, and then it started going.
It took a
It's like
turn.
they didn't stick the landing, in my opinion. I got where they were going, but to me, they didn't quite stick the landing.
Yeah, it took a turn. We were big Attack on Titan fans, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, I don't think I can
Where
watch this anymore.
y'all are going?
What it?
It was one of those things where I had committed that I was gonna watch it to the end
What did
because
you
it
say
was.
about it? What did you call Aaron? Say about Aaron?
Oh, he became the Antichrist.
Yeah, she's like, I liked it until Aaron became the Antichrist. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, because it was like you were the hero. You were the hero, and then you became the villain.
it got
And
really. I was just like, oh, I can't do this.
hold
Yeah.
on, I gotta check.
Well, pretty on.
I'm checking the messages because. Oh, okay. Fourth grade. When I was telling you about reading comprehension, he was saying, "Be careful." Donna said, "Be careful, Elaine. I did that for my bestie's son when we were on shutdown, and we almost flunked fourth grade English."
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
I was
I don't want
trying.
to torture you anymore. You're fine. Okay. Yeah.
She's adorable. She's adorable. Can I
Well,
adopt her?
no. No. She's the only one I can talk to. So no.
Well,
Um.
you can video chat.
Okay. We'll discuss it off air.
Okay.
All right. But yeah. I also ruined her with comic books because the first comics that she read was Teen Titans: The Judas Contract.
Oh, that was good. That
Yeah, but
was.
she was like 8. I should have
Oh,
thought better of
oh,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Should
That
have
was
thought
like
better.
me making Charles watch Akira at
Yeah.
7.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, I
there
should have
were
thought
just,
better.
but that taught me. Okay, there are just some things you don't subject your child to.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I
Yeah.
can't get him to come out here because he's like, "Oh, I'm hiding. I turned off my room. He's turned off the light in his room. He's trying to pretend like he's dead, so I won't bother
I do
him."
that sometimes. I understand.
Oh wait, no, he just made a noise. I think he heard me and he kind of giggled.
Mm.
My youngest is in my room, probably doing. He loves the Harry Potter books, and my sister indulges him. So he has all of the illustrated, but he wasn't interested in the Mina Lima version. But and there are people on YouTube who do read-alongs. So for some reason, he likes to go in my room and do his read-alongs.
Makes sense to me.
You know, it's
Yeah, we
like
do. Because there's no more reading Rainbow. We do read-alongs as part of homeschool. I'll have to now that they're a little bit older, I'll have to dive into it more and do more like Harry Potter and stuff. Because right now we're still at like the pigeon takes a bath.
I believe
So.
on PBS Kids you can still find Bringing Rainbow episodes. They're PBS. Our PBS here has a bundle of channels. So there's PBS, there's Create, and then there's a kids channel that is 24 hours PBS Kid shows.
I'll have to look to see if we have it.
Wild Kratts. The Wild Kratts is great if you're looking nature based and whatnot. My son has been into those guys since the Boomafoo.
Yeah, she was a big Fetch with Rough Ruffman fan.
Yeah, John was into Rough Ruffman, but I think you can get that. I am trying to see if I can find, and I have to run a search this week. No, I won't be able to do it until next week. HBO, way back in the day, did a collection of stories that famous people read. Jack Nicholson reading Kipling's stories, especially the Very Curious Elephant's Child. is something I think your oldest would get a kick out of.
Yeah, HBO introduced me to. I didn't know there was a Russian version of the Jungle Book.
Oh, okay.
It's an animated series, and it was closer to the book than the
The
Disney movie.
Disney, yeah.
And I've always wanted to find that because I only saw it on HBO at the time, and it's like, Mowgli grows up and he takes over the Wolf Clan, and like he wears Shere Khan as a robe and all of this. I'm like, whoa.
Classics Illustrated had the
Mhm.
entire collection of those stories.
Okay.
So that's how I got to know
Mhm.
them, because Classic Illustrated. And because I was one of those kids where English class would be, 45, 50 minutes. And 15 minutes in, I've, you know, I've done the assignment, passed the test, or
Mhm.
whatever. And I'm just sort of sitting there.
Mhm.
And the teacher would go, read this, girl.
Yep.
Just sit down and read this.
Yeah.
I read, and I love I love the Kipling tales. Oh, he just walked by.
I saw that.
Yeah, the Hulk.
Yeah.
Or Mommie's Pookie.
Oh.
he's my Pookie. He's heading to the bathroom. But those are
Is
good.
Joe still in there?
Joe?
Is Joe still in the bathroom?
Oh, no. That
Oh.
was he was just there,
Yeah, we were
He
talking.
wasn't
Joe's
expecting.
having tech
He's
issues,
having technical difficulties.
and he
So
was talking to us because he was on his phone, and he just all of a sudden flushed the toilet. He's like, oh.
it was hilarious. The rest of the audience didn't hear that.
Yes, that was behind the scenes stuff for us. But yes. All right, I don't have to keep you. All right, say goodbye. Wait, come here. Say goodbye. She's
I'm
shy. That was
I'm going to gift you guys some things.
all right. Thank
Let me
you.
get you guys some things. And like I said, once Charles shows me how to do it,
Mhm.
if you want, I can, like, every other weekend, I can host
We'll figure it out.
things for people to watch. Because I know she would love, I really know, I think she would really love Steam Boy.
Mhm.
And I've got a collection of stuff on Prime. Like
Yeah, great.
I love Captain Harlock
Yes,
from
Space
back in the
Captain
day.
Harlock.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love me some space. I am trying to find because Charles introduced me and then they took him off the air, and I can't find them. Especially since I can't get what is it, Cracker or whatever. There's
Crackle.
Crackle is no longer available on my Roku.
Um,
So I can't get things like I used to. But the Space Battleship Yamato
mhm.
is
Star Blazers. Yes. Yeah.
there
Okay.
is
She doesn't want to be on camera anymore, but she wanted to show you her Helsing on omnibus.
so she just wanted to make me nervous. She just wanted to make me jealous.
Yeah, that was
I can find you.
it.
I can't find you. I'm an ex-Marine. I'm evil.
Yeah. And I tell them every week I'm here in Olive Branch, so they know where we are. No, that was my oldest. That was my
She's adorable.
yes, that's one word for it.
She's like a little pixie. I'll
Yeah, she
trade
just
you. Courtney, we're gonna do an exchange.
where are your sisters? Mm.
Why you want to bring them on thinking you'll scare them?
They're actually it's kind of funny because I don't think we actually had kids. I think we just cloned this one because the other two look just like her. So
I can't see her just running around punching people at 8.
well, see what I've decided was
Or was the
Ty,
8-year-old the evil clone?
my Ty, she if you couldn't tell, she's kind of like an introvert.
Mm-hmm. She's
I mean, you'd never
quiet.
guess.
She's sweet and quiet.
I think to balance out the universe, they
Ah.
put all the extra extroverts into the 8-year-old to balance it out.
And then the 10-year-old is somewhere in between.
Yes, yes. The 10-year-old my 10-year-old's named Grayson. She was named after Dick Grayson.
Oh, okay.
But we also call her Carol because she listens to everything.
She pays attention.
She's our busybody. We'll be having mommy and daddy or grown up talk, and we notice it's quiet. She's peeking her head around the corner, listening.
Yeah, because that's where you find all the best info.
That's right. So
Grown-ups give you the best scuttlebutt. I got in all sorts of trouble as a child. Oh my goodness, look at it. She just standing in your mouth. That's what Black folks used to say when they felt the child was paying too much attention to grown-up speak.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, children were too boring.
Yeah, I told my wife, because she grew up in Memphis and I grew up in Mississippi. She thinks I literally came like out of the dark ages because I tell her all the time about
it's Mississippi.
Because I tell her all the time about stuff that I had growing up. Like we had a party line in the house, and so you had to pick up the phone and be like, when I would be at my grandmother's house, I'd have to pick up the phone and ask her neighbors if I could call my mom. And my sister was the one in the neighborhood who was always on the party line listening to everybody's business. So yeah.
Oh no. Hopefully the neighbors did not find this out.
Oh, they knew because they'd be like, Angie Riley, I'm gonna tell your mama. She'd be like, hang up the phone. Yeah.
When a child is not afraid of adults, you need to be afraid of that child.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd have to watch it first. There was a movie made in the 50s, I think, called The Bad Seed.
Mm-hmm. I've seen The Bad Seed.
Yeah,
it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Don't let your youngest watch that. That might give her ideas.
Yeah. Well, that's like there's a semi-modern version of that came out in the 90s with Macaulay Culkin, The Good Son.
Yeah, it was.
I'm avoiding that one too.
Him and Mr. Frodo.
Mm-hmm.
It was Macaulay and Mr. Frodo, and Macaulay was the bad kid. Mr. Frodo was the good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Macaulay because when I was around that age and that first Home Alone movie was so big, I had people would come up to me in the grocery store and go, if you did like this, you look just like the kid from Home Alone. And they'd walk off. I'm like,
so they would just come say that
and then leave.
Well, it's the adult equivalent of a man walking up to a woman and go, you look prettier if you'd smile, and then turning around and walk away. And I can't say my response on camera.
No, yeah, because my oldest is Carolyn right now. She's Carolyn right now. The conversation, and when you said the line about you'd look prettier if you smiled, she turned her nose up. She's heard that before. Yeah.
The best thing about being in my 60s is I don't have to, old men kind of look at me and go, okay, she looked like she might take me in a fair fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to just leave that alone, and when they get stupid.
That's the good thing about my girls is they're all trained killers. Because I started training them at an early age, and I know you probably wouldn't know this from looking at how sweet she is, but
she's adorable.
I used to choke out teenage boys all the time and think it was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, but she was testing them to see if they were worth the effort.
It's probably why she became a lesbian. None of them were.
You go, girl.
Yeah. She was like Maxima from the Superman books. I have to battle each one to see if you're my mate, and they all failed. So, yeah.
Maxima was was not the best. I would say not the best role model for them anyway.
Eh, well, in the animated series,
You're not a
she ended
woman,
up
Joe. You
loving
don't know.
She ended up loving Lobo.
You know.
When will again? I like what they were trying to do with her story in Superman. For
Mm-hmm.
her to try to find somebody of like ilk to marry,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but in doing so, you don't make her a, if I could say, a possum pearl in doing
Mm-hmm.
it. That's the part that I don't like about Maxima. I do like her in the comics more than on the animated series.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I was a lot older that I realized that her and Thundra from Marvel were basically the same character.
There are a lot of Marvel DC characters that were pretty much
Similar.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, because
They were the same character in many
Thundra
ways.
was a femizon, and she came in and was all about Ben Grimm because he could beat her in a fight, and that was her mate. And I'm like, man,
Well, she was looking for some.
Surprisingly enough, that's not who she actually consummated with. Well,
oh no,
I shouldn't say consummated with, but had a child by.
yeah,
Okay,
wasn't
so
it
she gave up Mr. Rockhart for something easier.
Didn't she
I
live with
wouldn't say
Archon Vampirion?
easier. I would not say easier because going from Thing to Hulk would not
Oh.
be easy. Because again, we had Lyra as the next Savage She-Hulk as a result of that.
Oh, okay.
That's the child of Tundra and Bruce.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
it'd be
Bruce had a
hard to
lot of
go to
kids.
Hulk. Okay, so I'm gonna chain you to this big old rock, and you're gonna call me mistress. Yeah, we went weird there for a second.
It's just Saturday night around here. Uh, but speaking of the Hulk, Peter David died this week.
Yeah, I
Yes.
saw that. That was sad. Peter David died, and then someone else in the comic book industry
Mm,
also passed, I believe.
It was at least, I think it was 2 or 3 people. I just can't remember. I know Peter
Yeah,
David was one of them.
he was the most famous
hmm
of the 3. Was Peter
Yeah.
David? Because a lot of people were posting. You know,
hmm
some I saw a video.
All right,
It was talking
Donna.
about celebrities who had died recently.
hmm
Night, Donna. Boo boo. Come here, Pookie. Come here, Pookie. See, at least your daughter, you call her, she comes. I'm like, come here, Pookie. Nah, I don't want it. Oop. I thought he was
No, I
going.
just hate working from the phone because as I hit things like I normally would, I have to remember it's a tinier screen and I don't have the liberties here. And now I know what actually happened with the laptop, and I'm not happy.
Oh, Joe's laptop wonked out. And,
Yeah, it's
he's on
simple.
his phone.
No, it's simple. It's very simple. It's just more along the line that for some reason it's no longer seeing my solid state drive on the laptop itself.
Mm.
So there's no loss of any real data. So I kept all the stuff that I was working on because all of that is on external drive. It's just I don't have a laptop that I could use per se
Oh,
until I
shit.
replaced. It's one or two things: either replace the whole thing or figure out a way to get in this bad boy to replace the solid state drive, whatever is cheaper. And at this rate, it's probably going to be cheaper to probably replace the laptop than to replace the solid state drive.
Yeah, I was about to say a good solid state drive is going to cost you, especially if you're looking at 1 terabyte or larger.
Mm.
Well, the one that was originally in here was 256.
Okay. Yeah, my old laptop, Squishy Boo, was 256, and
So that's the
I
reason. That's the reason why up here was like, you know what? It's like if I replace it, it's like a $50 repair to. But then again, I have to get a gaming laptop because I do intense graphics work.
So you're looking at maybe something. Well, Alienware does have those build your own kit type things.
Yeah, but I got this Acer at a nice price way back when a long time ago. So that's kind of like where I was at here. But now since I know what I'm up against, I'm not overly upset because technically I could still get it to work. I just have to install Windows 10 on an external drive, and we'll boot off
Ah,
the external drive, and I'm okay.
oh, okay.
Gotcha.
So it just your internal drive is just kind of go.
Yeah, it went.
Hmm.
That went today, so it's like, oh, like I said, I'm not losing any data, and it's technically kind of sort of booting in Windows right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sort of there. I
Kind of.
just can't get no further to actually log in and everything. So that was kind of makes me wonder what in the world is going on and how it's seeing stuff here. Because as I remove like the drives and stuff, the external drives, that's how I knew it is the internal hard drive. I had to remove everything from the laptop, and then it says no bootable devices. And it's like, well, yeah, you have the internal hard drive, so it's not even seeing the internal hard drive anymore.
I have a stupid technical question
Mm-hmm.
because I'm looking at the dashboard for the app, and it
Mm-hmm.
has something called present or present.
Present.
Is that if
If
something
if
happens?
you wanted to share a screen, you could share it through Present. If you
Ah,
wanted
okay.
to share a video, you could share it through Present. But
Ooh,
it would take me to come in here to say, okay, show it on screen.
okay. They keep asking me to sign up for free, but I keep thinking if I wanted to use this for like a movie night or something, that's probably going to cost me. To which Joe just went silent.
No, I'm not silent.
Oh.
I'm not silent. I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. So if I wanted to use this app to like do things like share movies, do like a video night, like a movie night or something, could I do that like using Present?
Well, it depends on how many people you want on screen with you. I know for a fact that doing StreamYard up under free, you only get 2 hours. You get
Okay.
2 hours if you're broadcasting.
Okay.
And
And
yeah,
the people have to be on the
as long as you
screen.
have the means, like like an external DVD drive and stuff like that, yeah, you could show it perfectly fine.
I have an external DVD drive.
Yeah, so you could show it perfectly fine as long as as long as you got the sounds and stuff settings set up the way that you need it.
Ah, okay. I will talk to Charles and see what I can set up, and then we can set a date. And I got some things. Like I said, I have I have bocce's, wizards. Though I don't. I think your 8-year-old and your 10-year-old are still a bit young for wizards.
Yeah, Wizards and heavy metal, and the non-life of Fritz the cat were
I tried to watch Fritz the cat because it was on Prime,
Mhm.
and because when I was a kid, Fritz was big in the theaters,
yeah, they
and
ruined me. They
I
helped ruin my childhood. So
I finally watched it. I got about maybe a quarter of the way and realized no, I'd rather watch rock and roll or I can never remember the name of it, but he did one that's music based. It's an exploration of pop music.
Mm-hmm.
but it's the lead is the family. It's a family of performers,
Mm-hmm. I
and
think I know what you're talking about.
starting with American pop. That's it, American
Yes.
pop.
Yes.
Starting with the family in vaudeville,
Mm-hmm.
on to various iterations of various generations, ending with the dad who had been a promising musician, but things happened. He became a drug addict. The son
Mm-hmm.
took to dealing drugs for them to
Mm-hmm.
survive because they lost their place, and then used his contacts to finally get a chance to audition. And the song that he uses is Night Moves.
Oh.
Is Night Moves.
Okay.
But I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely up there with my, among my Bakshi faves.
Mm-hmm.
Cool World. The best part of Cool World is when you go through the one character who's falling, you go through his mouth and come out his butt. It's like the best part of Cool World.
That the Cool World was a very strange movie.
It was definitely a drug-addled fever dream.
Now, Cool World had a young Brad Pitt and
Yes.
Kim Basinger in it, didn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It did. And I'm mad at Brad, but I just, like I said, I went and saw it in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, oh, I'm never gonna get this time back.
Yeah, but again, after the hype of Roger Rabbit and Who Framed Roger Rabbit and stuff.
It was his attempt at that, and there was some, like I said, that shot was really great. That was one of those shots where the little characters falling and they go up to the mouth and you realize you're going through it and you come out its butt. That one had me and the rest of the people in the audience just cracking up. There were a few things that were very funny. Visually, it's a very lovely film. I just, there were just, it just wasn't one of my favorites. I've seen him do other things that I've liked more. And that's just me.
It just didn't hit right, to be quite honest, because the story didn't make sense for Hollywood.
No.
It did not make any sense. It's like, okay, she wanted to be real, but yet all the stuff that she had to go through to break the barrier, it's just like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
It was kind of weird to me because I remember at the time, because I was still younger, like you said, Joe, it was like it was trying to ride the wave of the Roger Rabbit hype, and it was like polar opposite of the type of movie Roger Rabbit was. I was like,
yes,
in my young brain, it's like, who was this made for? And I couldn't figure it out.
a
So
lot of Bakshi's work, you sit there going, okay, who was this made for?
mm-hmm.
And there are things, right? My answer is like, okay, wizards, that's me. I love me some wizards. If I want animated Lord of the Rings, I will run Bakshi because the way they're set up, and then I found out why they're set that way, because Rankin Bass has The Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beginning. Bakshi has, when his Lord of the Rings is Fellowship, and then the halfway through Two Towers.
Mm-hmm.
And then because just like, and you can see where Jackson pulled a lot from Bakshi. You can see where Bakshi pulled from Vizetta. And then Rankin Bass's Return of the King finishes the trilogy. And at least in regards to The Hobbit and Return of the King, because that's how I introduced my kids to Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
Hobbit especially was more kid friendly because you've got a lot of murder, death, kill in there. But I love the way something dies, it just spins. It's just that sound comes and it just spins out of existence.
And now, I know for some people it's blasphemy, but I love the animated movies a lot better than the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings. I
Hold
just
on.
do.
I'm gonna have a heart attack.
I just do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love them all, but I have to be in moods first. It's like, am I in the mood to be that immersed in Middle Earth right now? Or
Yeah.
do I just, and more often than not, I will, because like I said, I have those in my Fandango account. So it's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna pull that. I'm going to Middle Earth, but I'm doing the animated.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rankin Bass.
Yeah.
Um, so and oh, you know what your youngest might like? Secret of Nim.
I have that on DVD. I want to rewatch that and The Last Unicorn. I want to rewatch with her because my
I think
10-year-old
she would
probably.
love she's at that age. I think she would get the Last Unicorn and really enjoy it. But I also think I love The Secret of Nim. It's Don Bluth.
Yeah,
So
I like.
and whereas Bakshi is old Hanna-Barbera, Bluth
Mm,
is old Disney.
yeah,
So it's kind
my
of a
I always remember The Secret of Nim as when I was young. When I was younger, and my mom was a single mother raising me, and she worked. She worked and put herself through nursing school all week long. And on Friday and Saturday, for you youngins, we would go to the video store.
oh,
And we
okay.
were so poor, we rented a VCR
Wow.
and rented movies. And one night we rented The Secret of Nim, and I remember watching it and I was fascinated with it, but I never could figure out why it made my mom cry. As I got
It
older, it's like it makes sense to me now. So I'm hoping now that both my younger ones are old enough they can appreciate the movie. So
it is definitely, and I love Sandy Duncan, and I
mhm,
think she does such a wonderful job as Mrs. Brisby. But as a single mom, you know,
mhm,
it definitely hits that whole.
mhm,
You are trying to save your family.
mhm,
You have a child who is sick. And then the situation comes where you think they're going to be saved, but because this butthead over here is too caught up in his power play,
mhm.
your children nearly get killed.
Yep.
And as a mom, you know, that just kind of like, it would tear the very heart of me, to
Yeah.
quote Aragorn. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
couldn't help it. Um, but
I
yeah,
found this.
I
I
I
found
love
this.
that movie. Dom
I found this.
DeLuise as the Crow.
Mhm.
You can't be. You got a shiny. Yeah.
Now, one of the go-to movies in this house for the kids is still Fern Gully, which makes me happy.
I Fern Gully was one of
Mm,
those. I was lucky. I got to take one of the things about being in LA. My kids, I had an episode, and my kids ended up in foster care while I was being
mm,
hospitalized at
mm,
the VA, and because of that, there were things that, there were a couple of movies we got to see
mhm,
at the Man's Chinese um, and whatnot. Also, there was in Santa Monica, there was a video store called Video Liquidators.
mhm,
And there was a video store that it was on Palms, right near the 2-for-1 pizza joint. And I would get videos for like $3.
mm,
And they were in good condition because being in Santa Monica, wealthy people, you know, They would see a movie and then get tired of it, and then they would give it to the video reseller people, and I could get it for like $3. So we had over 300 videos, but that was because I was going to Video Liquidators.
Right.
Or our local store, if they like our local Blockbuster would sometimes, if some movie had been popular and they had 15 copies of it, they might sell 2 or 3 for next to nothing. And we got to know our Blockbuster store crew because Charles, they would let him use my Blockbuster card, even though he was like only 12, 13, because I would come in there a lot of times and he would be with me. So they would, because you had to get there, we were at the bottom of a hill. You had to go all the way up this hill and then down the other side to get to where the Trader Joe's and the Blockbuster was. And there were times when, it was like, no, Mama can't make that. And he would be happy. He would go and because we got to know the manager and the staff, they go, oh, hi, Charles. How's your mom? He go, and like, what are you getting? And they would let him, so long as he had the money, he had my card. And because they knew him, they would let him get stuff. So he could rent, if I had like 10 extra bucks, he could rent a video game.
Right.
So once every couple of months, I would let him rent the video game, or we would rent a movie for everybody to see. If I couldn't afford to go to the movie theater, it's like, oh, we can get it on, or it's something that we'd seen before they really liked that wanted to see it again, and I didn't have a copy. We could go get it at Blockbuster. Sometimes we have a movie, but we would stop there because they have things like popcorn and Raisinets and stuff that you could buy. That was cheaper than the movie theater prices. So we would kind of load up on snackies. And they didn't care what we bought. I had a membership card. I paid, they were happy. We were respectful. They were happy. My kids were well behaved. They were happy. So I had quite a collection. And then we went from VHS. When we moved from LA to Chicago, we lost all of that. And then, of course, we switched from VHS to DVD. And it's been like, and it's been like rebuilding that collection, And right now oh my goodness, how many DVDs? I think I have 150, somewhere between 100 and something to 200 and something DVDs, but it's things that, we've collected over time. Like I got the first Lord of the Rings trilogy because Circuit City, every once in a while, Borders would have a sale. So you could, if I didn't get the extended edition with the extra thingy, I could just get the DVD. Right. I could get that for like $20. So, and when Circuit City closing, they had Return of the King, the extended edition with the Minas Tirith gift box for $30. And it was like, oh, yes. I had to clean a friend's house to get it, but I got it.
Because we're all old. We'll find this story funnier than some of the people in the household that I told it to before. When I first started dating Micah, my wife, I met her cousin who was he's like an armchair collector. He like was whatever was the cool thing at the time, he was a collector of. Oh, okay. And he got on a kick for a while of being a movie buff and being a movie collector. And it was still at the time where VHS ruled the video aisles. And because I like to I like to mess with him because he was just so easy to mess with. One day he was talking about his movie collection and he has this special edition of this or that. And I was like, well, I noticed what you don't have in your collection. Have you heard of the Braveheart reverse edition movie? And he was like, no. I was like, yeah, you should hunt it down. It's really rare. Um, and so he would go and ask people, go to the stores and like ask about the reverse edition of Braveheart, and he could never find it. And he came back to me and goes, I know, no one knows how to find this. What are you talking about? I was like, I looked at him like, Don, it's just a copy of Braveheart that wasn't rewound.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's so.
So yeah,
That's, I gotta remember that. I gotta remember that. You know, but
so
yeah,
yeah,
I will in the next day or so start cataloging
mm,
my videos. I know there are some things I could probably let you have. There are other things that John would chop me up and leave me out on the sidewalk to die. And there are some things they were too hard to get.
mm,
You know, I got Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. I got It's the Great Pumpkin. Um, if your kids like those, look to Family Dollar.
mm.
Family Dollar is where I've been finding my Charlie Browns. You know, I'm not finding them at Walmart or Target. And they're like, they're like $5 or $10 at Family Dollar on DVD, and they're good quality.
We're very lucky that our one of our friends that that's family, our we call him Uncle Kevin. The girls call him Uncle Kevin. He's an illustrator, and he's a big Peanuts and Oz books and Muppets fan. Um, and he actually he taught at the Charles Schulz Museum one summer,
Ooh.
illustration. So like he hooks them up with stuff like that a lot. So
Oh,
we're
okay. So
lucky
you
that
already
way.
have it.
Yeah, he actually he he was a final final callback, I think is what it was called, for the Muppet Show, with the revamp of the Muppet Show when they
Oh,
did
okay.
Ooh, okay.
so yeah, he's real big in that. His Kevin Williams, he has his own puppet Muley the Mule,
I
and
think I've
stuff.
heard of that.
Yeah, it's especially around because he to get the kids at his church to pay attention, he became the youth minister, and Muley does the children's services. Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be fun.
Yeah, but it's really neat because his house is like a little Sesame Street museum. So
Ooh.
they'll go over there, and he'll break out the memorabilia, and they're just, and then I'm like, okay, I barely remember some of this, but yay! But yeah,
Oh,
you're lucky. Uncle Kevin is a hookup with Peanuts. So
yeah. I'm trying to remember. I have to find out where Reading Rainbow is. Because if I say your youngest is at that age of Reading Rainbow, I
I'm
I
at that age for reading Rainbow.
I remember when I finally got a copy of Bringing the Rain to Kapiti Plain.
Mm.
You know, and on Reading Rainbow, James Earl Jones read it, and I got a copy, and I was reading it, and my boys were looking at me, and it's like, what's wrong? It's like, that's not how James Earl Jones does it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm not James Earl Jones. Okay, I can't turn into a snake. Leave me alone.
They never saw that Conan, so they wouldn't have got that, but no, I would have to, bringing the rain to Kapiti Plain. That was the only way I could read it that they would be satisfied. But all about keep Pat standing on the one leg like a stork bird. They loved. I think I got that one, and I think I got one or two other um, Reading Rainbow books. I also, a friend of mine, and I lost it, and I mourn it because you can't get it anymore. Shel Silverstein.
Mm.
Your 8-year-old would love Shel Silverstein. Where the Sidewalk Ends. It's a collection of poetry.
Yes.
Um,
I remember where the sidewalk ends.
where the Sidewalk Ends, Uncle Sheldon's A to Z
Mm.
is hilarious. There's think about shaving daddy though. That even if I could find it, I'm not sure your 8-year-old should see it because it's like daddy needs a shave. R is for razor.
I'm happy. I found an old copy of, and I think it was from when my siblings were young, of the old Frog and Toad book stories,
Oh, okay.
and the girls have been reading that some. So yeah, I like them reading old stuff like that because I can relate to it.
Disney has because I used to get to see Disney because occasionally we would have assemblies and
Mm,
Disney would allow certain videos to be shown in public schools,
mm,
you know, especially for us poor little black children who
mm,
are vastly undereducated as it is. And my favorite twofer, and I'm going to buy a copy. It's on my list, but it's like, yeah, but if Disney ever shuts down, you will lose that. Ichabod, the twofer of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
mm,
They're my Halloween. They're like my spooky season. They start and
mm,
end my spooky season. I love Mr. Toad. um, I think he's insufferable in many ways. It's very
mm.
British, though, you
Yes.
know. But the Ichabod, the Ichabod Crane one, just especially because Bing, you got their Bengal
Mm,
doing the vocals and stuff, and you just gotta love that. But I also, Disney, um, Fantasia. I love both Fantasia and Fantasia 2000. I
mm,
love them both because I love Fantasia 2000 for the just the fact that it's kind of an up. I love Fantasia because it's
mm.
hello, um, and I can watch it sober. I know
Yeah.
people. There are people older than me who are only go watch. If they here in Chicago, they would have special midnight showings of Fantasia before Rocky Horror became the
Mm,
midnight movie du jour. Um, every once in a while, Disney would put it out, and the older hippie kids would go and get high and watch it. And I used to wonder, why do you have to get high? Because my
mhm,
first time I got to actually see it, I was like, you know. They also have one. It's a collection of it's like, okay, these are the guys who didn't get to do Fantasia because it's a collection of pieces set to music, and
mhm,
the boogie woogie version of Flight of the Bumblebee is not to be missed. I
mm.
think your daughter would love that one.
Yeah, some of the older animated stuff on Disney is kind of a hard sell because I loved the Black Cauldron when I was growing up,
Oh, hello.
and I tried to get them to watch it, and they're like, "It looks funny." I'm like, "Be quiet." I was like,
Sorry.
"Hush! You made me watch Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. Watch this."
Maybe what's no what?
Or I always
Oh,
loved the really it's really terrible sci-fi, but the Black Hole from
no.
Disney.
Yes, Disney's the back hole. It's one of those cult favorites. It has its own cult following.
I couldn't get them to make it through that either. And looking back at it with grown up eyes, I'm like, why did I like this?
Did you ever? They're harder to find, though. I think they're beginning to make a comeback. The original Brothers Grimm versions of what is it, Snow White, Cinderella, because we've gotten so Disney-fied. Everybody
Mhm.
thinks that they met at the ball in one night and fell in love, but that's not how the original story goes.
my oldest likes
Did she
to
see Into the Woods?
She's I think yeah, she saw that. She's got a collection of Grimm's fairy tales, and she's read them repeatedly. And she likes to pardon my French, piss in the little girls' Cheerios. And when they watch Disney Princess, she's like, "That's not how it is," and we'll like tell it to them, and their eyes get big, saucer-eyed. I'm like, "Thanks, thank you."
But when I was a child, those are the versions that we had.
Mhm.
They little golden books would make sort of truncated, more Disneyfied versions of those stories. But explaining to my sons that the Three Little Pigs doesn't they keep the basic beats, but
Mm-hmm.
that happens over time.
Yeah.
And in the end, the third little pig gets wolf stew.
Mm-hmm.
So the wolf gets eaten.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Jim Henson's The Storyteller did
Yes.
a.
Oh.
They have they it's like in between Grimm's and Disney's versions of some of those stories, and they've seen those and they kind of like them. So
There's a British guy, used to be on Bravo, used to do a show. He was a comedian called Grim Tales,
mm-hmm.
that he used to do retellings of, that I thought was just amazing. For this one short time that I actually was able to have Bravo, we used to watch them, and I recorded them for the boys because we loved them. My youngest loved the little pot story, where it's the pot that makes oatmeal. It makes porridge,
right.
but you have to remember to say stop, little pot, stop, so that it stops. But I just remember some of the older fairy tales. The couple that lived in the pickle jar, was a favorite. I am trying to find some of the old Hoppity Hooper and and we talked about the old Hoppity Hooper, as well as some of the old Bullwinkles and Tennessee Tuxedos. I think your youngest, would love Tooter the Turtle.
Yeah, we have
And his
some of those
adventures.
on DVD. Because I found for $4 the entire Underdog series, and it had not just Underdog, but it had like the other little shorts that were on with the Underdog show. So yeah, we they liked those, and of course I'm just sitting there watching it now from my perspective. I'm like, this is the weirdest stuff.
Jay Moore and those guys, that group, if you think about it, this was stuff that they sold to children. Oh,
Yep.
I'm coming to your house to take that.
Yep.
That's mine. That you just gonna have to give that up. He went off camera. It's like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have showed her that. But if you think about the stuff that they did, Hoppity Hooper, Rocky and Bullwinkle, there was a lot of and we have I have Rocky and Bullwinkle collections on DVD, and we have the original Animaniacs, because they were the Rocky and Bullwinkle of my kids' time.
Yeah.
But I introduced them to Rocky and Bullwinkle because my youngest loves Fractured Fairy Tales.
Oh, those are good. Those are good.
Nothing
And
cracks them
Aesop's
up.
Fables.
Oh, and my mom, when I was a little girl, I didn't have a huge ton of books, but I had a collection of Aesop's. I had a collection of Aesop's Fables. I had a collection. There are these classics of literature books that my mother, that people used to, like the encyclopedias. You could buy books on installment.
Yes.
So I had a couple of the Oz books. I had Aesop's Fable, and then I had the Brothers Grimm, and they were the English translations of the original German stories. So they were the much darker. Also, um, I don't remember the company that did it, but a long time ago, and we're talking 60s or 70s, there was an animated version of The Little Mermaid. I forget the company, but they did animated versions of a Christmas. They did Christmas Carol, A Little Mermaid, and The Happy Prince. And I think your 8-year-old could deal with all of them. The Happy Prince is one that makes you cry at the end. It is he's Irish guy, got busted for being gay. Great writer though. And this was a children's story that he wrote. I don't know if he wrote it originally for children. Joe, you're not helping. Hello, Joe. Come on, get the name for me. But
Name of what? I'm still trying to fix my laptop.
oh, okay. Well, go back
I'm
to
still
being
trying to fix the laptop because I need something. Because again,
go back to
if I
Brainiac.
can't get this working away, I won't be able to do a show Saturday.
Oh yeah, you go back to Brainiacville. Um, Writer, gay. Charles would know, but his light is out. He is in bed. And I will find the name and post it in our chat. But
I need
it's
to
a
find.
it's a beautiful story. It's about there was a young prince in this kingdom, the capital city of which was walled, and the castle was walled, and so he never saw beyond the city wall, and he died as a young man. I think his mid-teens or something like that. And his parents, they did love him, and they erected a statue. They put it on a plinth and everything of him. That they gave him sapphires for eyes, and they covered it in gold as a memorial to their lost prince. And somehow the spirit of the prince got into the statue. And he had been happy, but then when the statue got created, because now he couldn't see beyond the walls when he was alive, but as a statue he could see, because if they put him on this high pedestal, he could see the city. And a little sparrow that was on its way to Egypt. It was making its first flight from where they were to Egypt for the winter. Comes over and it lands on his shoulder and it speaks to him, and he speaks to it, and they form this bond. And he sees, with the help of the sparrow, the sadness that not everybody, he thought everybody lived as well as he did in his kingdom. And now he learns that there are people who live sad, lonely lives of grief and despair and poverty. And the sparrow every day comes, "Hi, Prince, I'm on my way to Egypt." And he goes, "Sparrow, sparrow, stay and talk to me." And he first has the sparrow take the gold leaf that shrouds him and start distributing it to the poor. He also, no, first he takes his eyes. He has the sparrow. He has these there. He sees there are these two. This one widow with children. I forgot who the other one was. He has the sparrow take his eyes, gives one to this poor widow, and I forgot who got the other one. And then he has the sparrow going around to see where the poor are. He has the sparrow take some of the gold leaf and give it to people. Finally, there's no more gold leaf, and he's blind. And the sparrow, the final day, he's like, "You should go to Egypt now And the sparrow says, I am sorry, my prince. I have stayed too long. I cannot go to Egypt. The
Oh.
sparrow dies. The prince is brokenhearted. Because all the gold is off his statue, um, the parents, I think, and they have another heir at this point or something, they melt the statue. Everything of the statue melts except for a lead heart,
Oh.
which is tossed in the trash heap. And they find the little dead sparrow at the foot of the pedestal that the prince's statue is set on. They toss it on the trash heap.
Oh.
But it ends, and it's very sad. But the ending gets me because God in heaven tells the angels, "Go and seek out go and seek out precious among mankind, and bring me precious things of faith and love." And the angels swoop down in all the earth and in this town, and they find the little sparrow on the trash heap and the prince's heart, and they take it up to God, and he houses
Oh.
them. And I love that story. It always makes me get a little tear. It's a beautiful story. The original version of The Little Mermaid is darker.
Mm-hmm.
And people like, how can it be darker than it's like, yeah, it is. In many ways, it's a much darker tale than what Disney did. There's no singing. She
Right.
doesn't. There's no singing. She doesn't make friends. She doesn't have fish and shellfish that she's best friends with. So there are no shellfish with Caribbean accents.
Well, I don't want to watch it now.
But that one also is one that makes you both smile through your tears.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the original Hans Christian Andersen version, her sister, he marries the other girl.
Mm-hmm.
And her sister, because she cannot speak, the deal she made with the sea hag was to get legs to be close to
Mm-hmm.
this prince. She had to give up her voice.
Right.
So she can never speak.
Mm-hmm.
But she becomes his close friend and companion, not a
Mm-hmm.
lover. And the thing is, she saves him and leaves him on the beach. A young woman and her friends are walking along the beach. They're staying at a convent because a lot of wealthy people sent their daughters to convents to
Mm-hmm.
be educated. Um, and she and her friends find the prince. And she's the first thing that the prince sees when he opens his eyes. He doesn't remember. He remembers being saved, but he doesn't see the mermaid's face. So the first thing he sees consciously is this girl.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a situation that comes out where they're introduced and he sees her. And it's like, oh, you saved me. And
Right.
he marries her and invites the little mermaid because they get married and they go on this cruise. And it's like, oh, surely you're going to come with us on the cruise. She's
Of
never been
course.
able to speak her love for him.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes. One night, she is standing on the deck grieving. And her sister comes up. She sold the hag her hair in exchange for a dagger. And she
Mm-hmm.
tells her, if you take this dagger and go and kill him, you can come back to us. And she goes in there and she's standing and she's looking down on him and his new wife asleep. And her love for him is such that even now, even though she is brokenhearted, she can't kill it.
Mm-hmm.
So she then goes and she throws herself overboard. because she says she can't be a mermaid. She just doesn't want to be anything. In in Anderson's original story, as a mermaid, she didn't have a soul.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't quite die. She goes to this place where other beings, fey creatures who don't have souls go. And she's made a guardian of a child. And she has to watch over a child. And everything the child, if a child does something bad, you shed tears. And you have to keep going from child to child to child as they cause you grief. If you get a good child who brings you more joy than grief, you gain a soul and you can go to heaven.
Oh.
The child she's given brings her more joy than grief.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends with her gaining a soul and going to heaven.
Oh.
Like I said, it's one of those. And he writes it so beautifully
Mm-hmm.
that it definitely gets you in the feels. You know, I love those old fairy tales. They were much darker
Mm-hmm.
than the Disney-fied versions of them, but they were also, they spoke sad truths
Yep.
about the state of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. But they also, it was hope through tears.
Mm-hmm.
You know, The Little Prince is a sad tale. But it's also, and you can get caught in that, but it's also this quiet, gentle tale of mercy and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can get caught in, oh, it's so sad. But, you know, you think about the mercy and compassion of the prince. He had been sheltered from all these things when he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing them now, but he's trapped in, his soul is trapped in a statue. He can't do anything. He can't talk to his parents. The only creature that he gets to have connection with is this little sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
And the sparrow, out of compassion for the prince, becomes his helper. You know, and it's a beautiful tale. But then I'm 64.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our generation was raised on some dark stuff.
Yeah.
I think your oldest would appreciate the Happy Prince, as well as In the Name of This Man is on the tip of my tongue and I cannot pull it out. The Happy Prince, the original version of The Little Mermaid. Your youngest is probably not ready for The Little Mermaid. Your 10-year-old, I think. I saw the animated versions of these. CBS
Mm-hmm.
was a little more experimental. And these were all shown on CBS, you know, Saturday afternoons before 60 Minutes.
Ah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. My middle daughter, Grayson, my 10-year-old, she's all of a sudden decided she wants to be a teenager, and
She's
we
not ready.
watched the we watched the first two A Quiet Place movies the other day.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, and because she's got my cynicism, she's like, well, they kind of deserve that. It's like, yeah, okay.
I watched the prequel. I thought
Mm,
the prequel was interesting.
that's
Um,
next on the list.
the prequel, which happens when the attack comes on his, they never explain where they're from, what they're, it's interesting. I find it an interesting series because you, at least I didn't see the other two. I just saw the prequel, and there's no explanation. They came from space or something, but
it was never said in movies that I've seen, but from what I've gathered from the creators, these are some little creatures that their planet was like Krypton and it exploded. But because their outside is so dense or whatever, they just rode the debris through space.
and and
Not taking
they
into
and they come here, but
account.
the whole, you have to be quiet. If they hear
Yeah,
you, they will find you and they will kill you.
yeah. It doesn't take into account the fact that their outsides may be that hard, but impact would crush everything on the inside. But okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, there are questions, and not to
Mhm.
say that Krasinski didn't do an interesting job, and
Mhm.
Emily Blunt,
Yeah,
you know.
it's good. I enjoy them. There's supposed to be one that goes back to the family from the first two, and I'm waiting. I want to see that, but I know we were joking about it, and my Grayson goes, "Daddy, we need to make one called A Loud Place, and it's you have to be loud because if you're quiet, they come and kill you." I was like, "That's our house. That's our house now. What are you talking about?"
Oh no. Oh no. But yeah, I will collect a list of my stories that I think that I loved as a child. And those stories that it's one of the things I love about writing.
Mhm.
It allows, I love the journey of it. It's not just I'm telling you a story, but the writing of it is a journey for me. The reading of it is a journey for the reader, but the writing of it is a journey. Even though I've got an idea who my
Mhm.
character is, Chevron and her grandmother and her mother and their history and things that happen that lead to the choices that she makes that puts things in motion that carries the story. I've got I've got an idea of the basic points, but
Mhm.
I'm not a serious plotter. I will
Right.
make a list of things that I know I want to happen and reasons for them so that if I get stuck, I can go back and look at that stuff and keep moving. And sometimes I've written stuff and then found myself going in a different direction because it's like,
Mhm.
okay, that ending, the original ending I made for And the Coming of Nighttime, the original ending, I rewrote that about 15 times because every time I was going through the script and the story, the ending kept changing. Part of that is because the producer I was working with didn't know anything about werewolves. And so I was making changes in the story. And then when I finally got back to working on it myself, I started changing the story. And the ending that I have for it now is so different than the ending that I originally had. Um, but it it feels, for me as the writer, it feels more the correct ending.
Mhm.
And I realize, because people are saying, as a writer, you now have to sell why. It's not enough to do the stories, but you now have to create a brand and why you write and what your writing is about. And it's like, well, I guess in many ways it's about identity.
Mhm.
A lot of my work is about identity. It's about who do you see yourself as in the world? Who
Mhm.
does the world see you as? And I love werewolves because, there's this thing about yourself you have to hide because people may not necessarily understand it, even and especially when this is not something where you mean someone else harm.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
some movies that the first Howling is one I loved, and it got me on the idea for this story. There's another one, and you don't let your girls watch. Your other two are too young for this, but there's a great werewolf movie your oldest might like called Skinwalkers.
I think she's seen that.
I love Skinwalkers. I originally got it on when iTunes.
Mhm.
I got it from iTunes. I watched it. I rented it from iTunes, fell in love with it. And iTunes was like, hey, you watched that a couple of times. We'll give it to you for free. And it was like, really? And it's like, oh, you have to do this. And it's like, oh, I can't do that. It's like, hey, we'll give it. And then they came back and was like, we'll give it to you at a discount. It's like, I can take a discount.
Yeah.
And
I have a love-hate relationship with werewolves. I used to really, really like them, especially
okay.
like the Wolfman or like, you know, the big, scary, like Silver Bullet, Stephen King's werewolf.
Oh, yes. Kids
I
Against the
don't,
Werewolf.
I don't like, and again, some people disagree with me on this, and that's fine because it's my life. I don't like all of a sudden where they turn into actual wolves. Like, I don't want it to be a wolf.
Oh, so
I want it to
Company
be
of Wolves, you would not like a Company of Wolves because they
probably not.
become wolves.
I don't.
What and I'm working because I'm dealing with my lead character is a geneticist.
Mm,
So they end up with werewolf DNA and
mm,
you know, stuff happens. But my werewolves they're kind of closer to Cheney's werewolf,
mm,
which is not exactly what you would get, but closer to probably if a human
right.
went through that. Because if there are some werewolf designs, the big hunchbacks and nobody could survive that.
Like,
When you think about what the processes, and I had to study up
mm,
on it, the processes that the human body would have to go through for
mm.
transformation,
I
it
like.
it
That's
could
why I
kill you.
liked the American Werewolf in London.
This was not something that felt good.
And when he changed that, his change into the werewolf is probably like my favorite werewolf transformation scene ever because you can like literally like hear his bones breaking and stuff as he's changing. And I'm like,
Breaking and reforming, and his
yeah,
ribs are forming, and his organs being swelling and being shifted and
hmm
whatnot. And you can hear that he's crying out in pain.
hmm
And in the wolf form, it's just pain. All he knows is pain and hunger.
hmm
And it is such to a degree that it would shut down your humanity.
hmm
And the coming of nighttime, I have a group of werewolves where the alpha male he teaches the young and very moneyed packs send their young to him. He's a master of the transformation.
hmm
So he teaches them how to transform and have control over it.
hmm
So instead of it controlling you, you control it. Um, and I created this backstory. He became a master of the transformation because he and his family were on another space colony, and they were ranchers, and they were running through some they were running into some financial troubles, and they were nervous eaters.
hmm
I've done some nervous eating in my time, so I kind of understand it. But what happened was they were stressed out about the money. They were going to lose. They were they could lose their ranch and their herd, and they kind of went and they all changed out of stress. And when they came to, they had eaten the entire herd. And so they lost, became a self-fulfilling prophecy. And because of that, he has dedicated himself to learning how to have control. Because he saw firsthand what could happen if you didn't have control. And he's so good at it now that more financially and societally, up there wolf packs are sending their young to him. even though they
Mm.
look down on him because
Mhm.
his mate is, you know who Linda Hunt is, right?
Mm.
The character Shanti, Linda Hunt she's, I built that character on her after I
Okay.
saw the Shadout mates in that
Yeah.
version of Dune. It was like,
Mhm.
oh, she's kind of badass. I like her.
Mhm.
And so Shanthid that's his mate. So he's this
Mhm.
Michael Ironside was understand I came up with the idea for this story back in the 80s. I have
Mhm.
stories I'm writing now that I was percolating ideas for way back when.
Right.
So when Michael Ironside was still,
Mhm.
um, but they have a son, but their pack are orphans, children
Okay.
who've been orphaned through various situations. There's the old saying, there are no orphans among wolves.
Mhm.
There is a man, I forget the name, Cry Wolf, I think is it was a documentary. A guy who's a researcher was studying wolves. And
Mhm.
so he had his little camp and he had cameras and stuff so he could study on the wolves. And he was trying to, in some ways, he was trying to adopt some of the things. Like he realized that the wolves, you can't always bring down a
Mhm.
moose or a deer, but there were mice
Mhm.
where he was. So the wolves were eating mice. So he was
Mhm.
eating mice. He was catching mice and cleaning and gutting them and boiling them.
Mhm.
His little laugh. It was just,
There you go.
yeah, it was great. But
So what is your opinion?
ooh,
What is your opinion of the underworld movies werewolves?
you know, and understand Michael Sheen naked is something I actually, especially back then, liked to see.
Mhm.
Um, but that movie, the werewolves always get the short shrift in those films.
Mhm.
Whether it's Rise of the Lycans, the first one, um, it is the werewolves get the short end of the stick in those movies,
Mhm.
which makes me sad. Which makes me sad. The werewolves are always they whatever's going on, especially the later movies, when if when people, because of this war that has gone on,
Mhm.
mankind has heard about it, and so they've set out to eradicate both vampires and werewolves. Um, and of course, the werewolves get it worse.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
and I've seen them all. I even have a few of them. I've
Mhm.
Rise of the Lycans because the chicken there. I can't remember her name right now. But she's like a British. She was an action
Mhm.
star.
What you talk
Mhm.
about, Mila Djokovic? No.
No. She's British, not Polish.
See, I gave up on the movies after the
Mitra.
prequel.
Mitra. Her last name is Mitra.
Mhm.
She's raised in Britain, but I think her father is Indian or something like that. But she did a movie where it's a great movie. I will find it. Your oldest will love it.
Mhm.
Rona Mitra. Rona Mitra. She There's a situation where there is a sickness
Mhm.
that is killing people, kind of making them crazy. And the one guy who they hope has the cure is in Scotland.
Mhm.
And her character, along with the group, is sent to Scotland to get the cure from him. They get there. they find he's got some interesting family dynamics, including a son who was leading a pack of cannibals.
Right on.
And her use of the line, "If you're hungry, take a bite of your friend," is wonderful. But she literally has to fight for her survival. And there is a sequence that is a car chase and battle that is just
What was the name of the movie?
I will find it and I will let you know.
Is it Doomsday?
No, it's not Doomsday.
Okay.
It's not Doomsday. It's an independent British film. And it's funny because she was in that one and she was also in Skinwalkers. She played the mom. The character she plays in Skinwalkers is the total opposite of the character. This other movie, she's tough, she's brash, she's a ball buster. She drives a car. And then Skinwalker, she's the mom who she does not know that in this small town is full of werewolves, and her husband, who she thinks is dead, is not dead, and he's trying to kill this kid because the prophecy is that this kid will bring an end to all werewolves. And it turns out that he's his kid. And so she has to, come to grips with everything that she has thought is real in the world isn't this lovely little small town where she knows everybody and everybody knows her and they care about her and the kid because she thinks they just do it because she's a widow, caring for the poor widow and her kid. And then she finds out, no, they're a bunch of werewolves. And there you go. And they've been guarding her and the kid. And now she has to, and she kind of has to go werewolf 101. Because now they're on the run. She's on the run with a pack of werewolves, and they're having to. And I love Granny Werewolf because Granny Werewolf pulled out a rifle. And I don't know if you ever saw a show called High Chaparral.
I don't think so.
Oh, it was there were shows like Bonanza and the Big Valley, which were more big production Western TV shows. High Chaparral was similar, but it was set on the other side of the border. It's more south of the border. White guy, he owns a ranch. His head ranchero is a good friend of his. He marries this guy's sister. And my abuela loved this show because just like Victoria Barkley, you mess around with this chick, she grab a rifle and you knew when she grabbed her rifle, you knew somebody's butt was gone. that was just it. But it brought an interesting Hispanic flavor to that genre of film that was not the Pancho, Cisco kind of silliness.
Oh, the what was his name? The Cisco kid.
The Cisco kid with Pancho. Cisco.
Cisco. And they really put on that thick old Hispanic accent for Pancho. I was like, no, stop. But that was one of my mother's favorites. That was one of my mother's favorites.
It was right up there with Jay Silverhill's Kimosabe.
My dad was a big Westerns fan, and he when he retired from being a truck driver, he watched the Western Channel like 24/7. And I don't know the name of the movie. I don't know nothing about it. But I walked in one day and he was watching a movie, and it was cowboys and Indians, and the leader of the bad guy in Native American tribe was a young shirtless William Shatner.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
They didn't even bother to try to like darken his skin or nothing. His pale ass was up there pretending to be a Native American, and I was just like,
they did a Star Trek where he ends up leading a Native American tribe.
And I was just like, what is happening?
But that's
Anyway, we're over the 2 hour mark, people,
okay.
so we gotta like wrap it up here.
Okay, well, before we go, I forgot to bring this up earlier, and we got just derailed. I started a reread of this series because I realized I never finished it, and I recommend highly if you've never read it, Jonathan Hickman's East of West.
Oh, okay.
If you've never,
I've never read it.
it's an alternate history of America, with the Horsemen of the Apocalypse there. So
Ooh.
it's really good. And like I said, I realized I'd never finished it, so I'm going back and rereading it now. And yeah, if you've only read Jonathan Hickman's Marvel stuff, um, yeah, dude is weird. I'm just dude's weird. You just be prepared. So, but yeah, I meant to mention it earlier because it's on Amazon. I looked it up too.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but yeah, it's if you've never read it, it's really good. It was some of his creator owned work, and if you like his Marvel stuff, this is a lot better. So,
Oh, Impact Winter. Um, it's connected to the Impact Winter comics. You can get the
on Audible,
audiobooks,
Mhm.
and they just released number 3.
Yes, I'm listening to number 2 next week. So,
I just finished 3 last week.
and the last thing I'll say before Joe tells us it's time to leave is I was asking about the Underworld movies because that was one of the last werewolf films I remembered where they look like the werewolves I like, but I had to quit watching it after the prequel movie because I
Rise of the
realized
Lycans.
at the end of Rise of the Lycans, Lucian, I think, or if I remember right, it was his name, came
Yes.
out there and gave the big rah rah speech, and it ended with him holding his arm up. And I looked at him, and I remembered that was the exact same costume he had on at the beginning of Underworld, the original Underworld. And I
Yes.
realized that man had not changed clothes in 400 years, so I had to quit watching it.
Well, I'm sure he'd killed a few cows, and he just liked that look.
That dude never changed clothes. Can't do it.
Okay. Well, on that note, talk about some rusty crusties. Rona Mitra had him when he was clean. Okay, that was the last thing he was wearing when she died. So
Okay.
because that was Rona Mitra did. But he said
Okay.
Rona, she was a kick-ass British girl. Anyway, I will start, or did you want to?
No. You have to give me a moment here because, like I said, it's weird on this one here. So I have to figure out how to. There you go. Now you can go.
Okay. Thank you for this installment of Total Chicks TV, starring me. Hold on, gotta do it right. I'm a cat. Sam Regal will get it, so he never watches this, but I love you, Sam. Anyway, thank you for being here. Whether you watched us live, whether you come and catch us later on, I love you. Michelle loves you. Kitty cat loves you, including my cat cup. Anyway, I'm Elaine Haygood. You can find me at lenscaponline.com. You can find me here, Elaine Haygood, on YouTube. You can find me at Facebook. There are a lot of places you can find me. Don't come find me at LinkedIn though, because I'm cranky there. I'm crankier on Facebook, but I'm more funny. Anyway, we love you. We appreciate you. Oh, and The Coming of Nighttime, Book 1 becomes live on Amazon KDP this weekend. You can find it on Amazon, Amazon/author/Elaine Haygood. There's all my stuff you can buy and go, ooh, because, somebody bought from me in February. I got $5.25. Thank you. Y'all take care. See you next week. Bye.
And there's Cliff here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened tonight, but if you made it this far, thank you. It was an experience. I'm still here in Olive Branch. Come find me if you're bored. Thank you. Come again.
And now it is my turn. Let me turn the camera like this here. Because of technical difficulties, we made it through this episode here because why? I have a backup plan for everything. However, come Saturday, I am not 100% certain about having a front of desk or a small press publisher unless I have a working laptop where I can use the proper camera and everything. But be paying attention to my social media. But before we go, we do have to give shout outs to our sponsor here, which is Plasma Fire Graphics. If you need a cover for your book here, hit up Jeffrey Hayes here. If you don't believe me, take a look at this video.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
As you can see, he is worth the money here, so make sure you hit up Jeffrey Hayes at platformfiregraphics.com or hit up his Facebook group. And as I stated before, it is still up in the air on whether or not we're doing a front of desk here. Most likely we are. Pay attention to my social media to find out yay or nay here. But until then, unlike Brian K. Morris, I don't care if you wash your hands, but never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. Until next time, see you later.